What's going on, everybody? I have my guest right here, Robert.
Hey, good evening, Ricky. Thank you. I appreciate this so very, very much.
Yeah, no problem.
And Sky, if you're listening, thank you for connecting Ricky and myself together. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Good old Sky. What would we do without Sky?
I know she is such a blessing, and she's Italian. She's Italian also, and
Oh yeah,
She's wonderful. She really has. She's opened more doors for me, so I appreciate
there
that.
she is down there. Well, down there.
Hi, honey. Hi. Thank you so very, very much. Much love to you, my love, my dear. Ah, bless his soul. Well, tonight, my brothers and sisters in the paranormal field and Ricky, I'm going to tell you who I am and what I do within the field. If anyone has any questions, interrupt me, just do, okay? So, I'm a psychic medium. My first experience was when I was 4 years old, and I'll be 67 in December. So I'm old. I'm probably older than anybody else who's going to be listening to this today or next year or whenever. But anyhow, it hit this, my ability, my gift, talent, has just gotten stronger and stronger over all these years. And I also have, I must say that first, I want everybody to feel comfortable in who I am. And so I'm going to tell everybody that I'm gay. Somebody, because I need for them to be comfortable with me. You know, that's very important to me. And if they don't, God bless them. I don't, I just think it's very, very important that I am very transparent, very, very important. And also that I am Roman Catholic, and my spirituality is based on my Catholicism. I don't try to convert anybody to any type of faith. I don't. That's not my thing. But for me personally, my Roman Catholicism is very, very. And, um, I do many things within the paranormal field. And like I said, my first experience is when I was 4 with that son and stuff. And I also have a master's degree in forensic psychology and clinical social work from the state of Florida. And and so I'm kind of different than a lot of psychic mediums, people with abilities, because I combine my psychology education as well as training. And so I combine that with my psychic and my mediumship. And it works beautifully together. It really, really does. I was going to bring an onion tonight, but I forgot. Anyhow, when I'm called in, especially to a residential setting, I bring an onion with me. I talk to the families extensively. And God bless these families because they want to tell the story right away, right? I said, please let me tell you what is going on here with you and in your paranormal, right? Because a lot of people, like I said, they want their story to be told, and God bless them, and I understand that. So I showed this onion, and I began to peel back the onion. So there's many layers, right? So there's many layers getting to the core of the problem, to the core of the situation. And more times than not, in my experience, is that there's going to be an emotional upheaval. There's going to be something going on traumatic. Could be a divorce, could be a suicide, could be a change of job. It could be anything like that. And when people become frustrated and angry and hurt and betrayed and all those things, then they become a perfect storm. Or, especially these pesky spirits, as I call them. Okay, so that is my own experience. So people really appreciate me bringing this onion and showing them that we have to get to the core situation. When I go into a residential setting, I talk to the family, of course, but I'm there to help them. Okay. I realize that the team who's going to be coming in, I know they have their equipment and God bless them for that, but I have nothing to do with that. I don't. A lot of times, I believe it blocks a lot of people's abilities that they have with all this equipment, right?
Yep.
And because of technology has gotten so much better over the years, people are not relying on their own guts, as we would say years ago, right? they are using EVP machines, and so all this other stuff is actually doing the work for them.
Equipment like that, all
Yeah,
sorts of stuff.
but anyhow, so God bless them. You know, if they're going to use them, I have no qualms with that. But for me personally, and and so I talked to the family just not one time, but many times, because because people just don't call the spirit team just because they're bored. You know what? They call a spirit team because there is something there. Now, in the seminars that I've done in this, I told our brothers and sisters in the field that we must validate what the family is experiencing, because it is their experience, not mine, not at all. Okay, so we must realize we're seeing it through their eyes and not ours. Okay, and I tell a lot of teams that they may go into a place and never get anything. It may be quiet. Okay,
Yeah.
that's happened. But on the other hand, I have also heard teams that I'm no longer with that would say, well, we never got any evidence, so there's really nothing going on there. And that's bullcrap.
That's not always the case. The spirits just don't want to talk to you. That's what it is.
You know, that's right. You know, and you know, the spirits are not trained circus animals.
No.
They don't come out. You know, they don't come out when somebody says, "Where are you?" or they scream at them and whatever, right?
Or just like these big known locations, they get sick and tired of people going in there all the time, asking them the same questions, using him as their some sort of puppet or toy, and they don't like it.
Right. So very much so. So we must always validate what the families experience. Okay? And like I said, I come from a psychological education. For me, it was wonderfully diverse. Okay? I do have a master's degree in clinical psychology and clinical social work from the University of Florida. And in 1980, I had written a letter. Well, I had talked to the department of the psychology department, and I asked them, how about if we go to Racers, which is 50 miles north of Gainesville, Florida, right? And that's where Ted Bundy's at. He lives in Texas. And so he goes, that sounds wonderful. And so I did. I wrote a letter to Ted. I wrote a letter to his lawyer. The department head wrote a letter to the prison warden. Anyhow, we asked if we could see Ted. And 2 weeks later or so, that we got a response. I got a response from Ted, and I have the letter home from Illinois, and I don't have to stay sometimes 2 days. But anyhow, so he said yes. The warden said yes. His lawyer said yes. And Ted had written that we could ask for anything that we wanted. But everyone must realize that he was a number one manipulator, and he was so very, very good. Anyhow, so we got that permission, and we went to see them. That can be another time on your podcast. Okay?
Cool.
Okay. I also mentor 15 children in the public called the Children of the Paranormal. I had done other podcasts and talking about that we need to reach out to our younger folks who have abilities, gifts, talents. Okay, some of them are psychic mediums, others are clairvoyant, empath, intuitive, sensitive, as they say, and such, right? Well, these children, when their parents reached out to me, these children were in need because of the family. The children had become loners, not doing well at school. Some of them suffering from depression and or anxiety.
Yep.
Several of them attempted suicide. And right now, my brothers and sisters who are watching this, at this very moment, there is a young person out there that has all these God-given abilities. This person has no one to go to, and they're contemplating suicide this very moment. So we need to reach out to these people. We need to reach out to these children. Hi, Vicki.
How's it going, Vicky?
She's a good friend. And so they heard me on this podcast. Family started just to, and I always give my telephone number out like I will tonight, okay? And and so if someone needs assistance, please give me a call, okay? But anyhow, and so I met with these families individually as a group, and just one story that I can tell just briefly is of a young girl named Brianna, and her family lived in Chicago, and they were very, very wealthy. Her father is a corporate lawyer in Chicago. And so, anyhow, he had contacted me almost in tears because he didn't know what was going on with his daughter. They were thinking about taking her to a shrink, you know, thinking about
That can
maybe
make
she,
it worse, though.
oh, I know, and thinking about that she needs to be hospitalized, put on medication.
Nope.
And I said, let me come up to her there first. Don't do anything till I get up there. They sent a car down to get me. They sent a car down 150 miles. Peoria is 150 miles southwest of Chicago. They sent a car down. And so it was just a driver and myself. And so he took me to their home and everything. And so I talked to their parents first. I must also say that when I meet with children specifically, I never have the door closed. I always have the parents in earshot and eye shot. Okay. Everything has to be up aboard. Everything has to be transparent. That is number one. Okay. And so talking to the parents, this is what's going on and everything. Then I met Brianna. And I already sensed and felt already that she had these wonderful, wonderful abilities. Okay. And her parents had talked about that they saw her move things and they could be in another room, right? So I went into another room and Brianna stayed in her room. I was probably 4 doors down in another room, right? Down the hall from her. And I said, Brianna, I said, move, move this little toy that is in your brother's room that's on the chest of drawers. Move it for me. Within 30 seconds, that toy was moving. It moved right in front of my eye. It really did. Okay. I went back and talked to Brianna, and Brianna was a preteen. So she had all these hormones going on and stuff like that and everything. But she was being plagued with spirits coming through to her window and such like that. And so that's the story of Brianna. There's more, and we can go into it in another show. But just meeting with these children who are truly gifted, really gifted. If I ever thought that a child was mentally ill, I would be the first person to say, take this person to a psychiatric hospital. Truly. Okay. And yet with my psychological experience and training, I weeded all that out. You know what I
Right.
mean? You know? And so, but these children, like I said, they were doing horribly in school. A lot of the kids, a lot of these kids are thinking about self-mutilating themselves, in which they did. Two of them did, and they showed me the scars on their arms. But that really broke my heart, because they were going to their parents, and the parents didn't know anything about the paranormal except watching the old Dracula movies and
Yep.
stuff like that, right? Anyhow, so working with these children and raising their self-esteem, I never pushed them away. A lot of the parents, they love their children, but they push them away
Hmm.
because they know what to do. Okay. I
Yep.
always tell parents and everyone who's listening, listen, if we allow our children to come to us with the most trivial things in their lives, they will learn and know they can come to mom and dad with the most important things in their lives. So trust is very, very important. We don't want to push away our children. Okay.
Right.
So these children, I meet with them. I meet with them several times a year, before COVID hit. And so we would all network and such like that. There would be some of the families are very poor, very poor. And so collectively, the ones who could not afford the gas or airfare, whatever mode of transportation, we paid for that and we paid for their stay. Okay. And so we got to know each other very well. And so, like I said, I went and talked with them first, and then I formed this group. And right now, these children are doing wonderful. They're doing beautifully now. And in fact, they have reached out to other children. And again, they have contacted me and said, Robert, we have someone else that needs help. And so then I will go meet with them. But just these kids now, because of technology and telephones and everything, and cell phones, laptops, whatever, that these kids can network with each other, they can chit chat with each other if they're having a bad day. I have also taught these children how to turn on and off their abilities. How I do that is I said that when you are ready for the spirit world to come around to experience them, that's it. I just put a book of it down. Open the book and do that. When you're done, close the book. Doing that in your mind. Opening up yourself to the spirit and then close it. And say that also. I'm opening myself up to anyone, to any spirit, and then when you're finished, close the book. Contact. Okay? Anyhow, these children are doing wonderfully now, and so it's really, really a blessing that you do this. So I do that. Okay. I also volunteer at the hospital with children here, and I usually get called in hours before they leave this earthly dimension to the heavenly. And sometimes the children and the parents know what I do. They know I'm a psychic medium, okay, or they know at least that I see spirits, the angels, especially, okay. And sometimes they will say, "What took you so long?" They had no idea I was coming. Their parents never said that to them, but they would say that to me. And what did Sky say? I can't read what Sky said up there.
She says, "Are you covering your mic on your phone?" She says it
No.
sounds in and out.
Oh, how's this? Is this better?
Yeah, it sounds better.
Okay. I don't have a mic, and I should. I can't find my earplugs. I don't know where my earphones. I don't know where they are. They're someplace here.
Those are easy to lose. I lose mine all the time.
There's someplace here in New Mexico, I'm sure. But anyhow, so I meet with these children, and I sing to these children. It's not that I'm operatic star, because I'm not. I'm not. But I sing to the children. I bring them coloring books so they can color. The youngest child that I was with was 5 years old, and the oldest child I was with was 12. And a lot of these parents, when they've contacted me, that they are at their last string, you know what I mean? And
yeah, and that's about the age ranges where things start going haywire. I remember going to psychologists and trying to tell them, thinking that I was crazy like myself, but really I wasn't. It's a journey. It's up and down.
It is.
I just want to give a shout out to Tim. Tim's in the house. It's my good friend, Tito.
Oh, Tito. Hi, Tito. But anyhow, so being with these children who are going to be leaving this earth very soon, and just to be with them.
Oh, that's sad. They're leaving. They're terminal.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would kill me. I don't know how you did it.
No, not the children of the paranormal. This is the hospice group that I'm talking about.
Children, just children.
Yeah.
That's even. Oh my God.
And it does, but I believe that God puts us where we need to be at any given time. I reached out to this hospice because the hospice helped me take care of my father, and they were a wonderful hospice. Mm-hmm. And so I told them what I do and who I am, and they said, Robert, you would be great in our ministry to children. Okay. And so they would talk to the parents and tell them who I am and how they got to know me and what I do within the paranormal field. And because I want everybody to be comfortable, like I said. And anyhow, so they would allow me to come in but these parents are just emotionally, physically, and spiritually drained.
Yeah.
They're seeing their child, and a lot of these, Ricky, my paranormal brothers and sisters, listen to this, that a lot of these women or families cannot have another child. So they see their only child that God has blessed them with dying in front of their eyes. They've seen these children at Shriners Hospital or different children's hospitals country, and they're just wore out. So I walk into the room, like I said, some children will say, "What took you so long?" You know, but they had a feeling that someone was coming. You know, their parents never said that I was coming. And so I would talk to the children about angels. And I always say this, that I am here, like to Gracie and to Luke and to Anna and to others that I've been with, and like Gracie especially. Oh, Gracie, they're all angels. But I said to Gracie, I said, honey, I am here to walk with you on a part of the way on your journey. But a beautiful angel will be coming very soon. And this angel will take you by the hand. And this angel is going to take you to heaven, to a heavenly playground where you don't have to worry about a wheelchair anymore. You don't have to worry about being in and out of a hospital. You can play again, you can run again, you can catch ball, you can go swimming, you can do all these things that you do. And so a lot of times the children would say, "Can I hug you?" And and I and so I would give them a hug. And again, their parents were within eye shot and earshot. Okay, so everything's and and so I knew when it was time. And oh, sometimes Ricky and everyone, that there would be a bright light that would get flashed. That was an indication to me that the angel is coming. Angel is coming to get Gracie, Thomas, Lucas, Craig, Wally, and so the room would change. The room would change. The air goes lighter. Sometimes, sometimes the child and sometimes the parents also could smell roses. They
Oh,
really
wow.
could, and so they would say that, and so the angel would come closer. The child's respiration would change, would begin to increase.
Hmm.
The heart rate would increase, and so this is the time. I told the parents, I said, "This is the time for you to um, to get into bed with your daughter or son and love on them, tell them how much you love them, because this, because very very soon they're not going to be able to hug or love on your child ever." So the parents are sobbing, and a lot of times the child isn't crying, but their parents are crying, and and so I understand that, I do.
Hmm.
And so I usually get behind them and I touch their heads and everything, and tell them that this is the Father of their life and this beautiful angel is coming very soon. And sometimes the children will say, more times than not, the children will say, "Robert, do you see, or Mommy and Daddy, do you see that? Do you see that in the corner?"
Because they're already on their transfer,
Right, they
their
are.
side almost.
Yeah. And so they're coming closer and closer to angel there. And again, I said, I can only take you part of the way. And this beautiful angel is coming to get you, to take you to paradise, to this wonderful playground, to all the children that you met while you were in the hospital. that They're going to be there waiting. So the child, the breathing begins to change. And, and then, but again, the warmth in the room when this angel gets closer to the child, that that you can feel that. You could really feel that. And then the child would take his or her breath, close their eyes, the eyes is closed, and the angel and then take these children.
My friend Tim wanted to know what you do. He's just now tuning in.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hi, Tim. Thank you for watching. I'm a psychic medium as well as I am a forensic psychologist. I did in forensic psychology and clinical social work from the University of Florida. So I was a criminal profiler for 35 years. So I combine the psychic mediumship of me as well as the psychological training and education that I've had. I was a criminal profiler for 30 plus years for the state of Florida. So I do many things within the field. So I was just talking about volunteering at this hospice for children. And prior to that, Tim, and everyone who's coming in, that I was talking about these children of the paranormal that I was helping and assisting with their gifts and their abilities and such. I talked about meeting Ted Bundy, talked about that, and so I do many things within the field. I do remote viewing. Okay, I help a lot of people also with grieving, people who are grieving terribly. They'll hear me on a podcast or wherever, or just by word of mouth, and they will contact me. And so I have several stories of how their grieving went into mourning, and they were almost to the brink of suicide, of missing their loved one so much. So that's another story that we can get into sometime. Okay, Ricky?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I've been involved in two exorcisms that were sanctioned by the Catholic Archdiocese of Chicago. I am Roman Catholic, like I said earlier. My spirituality is upon my Roman Catholicism. I don't try to convert anyone. I said that earlier, but anyhow, I don't try to convert anyone to Christianity or to Islam or to any religion. I don't. Okay, that is their own individual thing. But for me, my spirituality is based on my Roman Catholicism. So I was involved in these two exorcisms, and they're totally different. One was with a gentleman named Kevin who lives 4 hours from me, and he heard me down in St. Louis. He was at a ball game, and people behind him had heard me doing a podcast. And so they were talking about my experiences and things that I do in my education. So he turned around. Kevin said he turned around and asked them for my if they had my telephone number, and which they do because I give it out freely, right? And so they gave him my telephone number. And Kevin said it was about a week later is that when he called me. And let me tell you, if I saw evil within Ted Bundy's eyes and how the room changed, let me tell you that when you look into the eyes of someone who is demon possessed, and do I believe that Ted Bundy was demon possessed? Of course I do. I do. And that's another whole story. The story that I have to tell about Ted Bundy is a story that has never been told about how he got into the dark side of things. Okay. And so that's for another story sometime. Anyhow, so Kevin reached out to me and called me like at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you know what the 3 o'clock in the morning is, it's not like it's time to go to McDonald's. So we all know what the hour is.
The witching hour.
Yeah, you know. And anyhow, so he called me. My phone is always on. If anybody needs any assistance at all, my phone is. And so we were talking, and then I said, "Let's stop." I said, "Let me tell you what I'm sensing and feeling." Okay. And so I did. And before you knew it, and I'm just going to say this one thing, couple things, that when I heard him cackle and howl like an animal, it,
Hell no.
yeah. And the right side of me is the good side, right? It tingles and everything's hunky dory. But the left side, I just was picking up this horrible, evil energy and stuff like that. I began to say the thing. I began to say the prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in this day and night.
That's my protector.
Amen. Amen. And so anyhow, and so then Kevin and I was talking, and I always kept saying his name, Kevin, I'm here to help you. And then I saw blood, psychic, and I'll go how I see psychically how I see things. But I psychically saw blood. And I didn't say nothing to Kevin. And Kevin said, "Robert, my mouth is bleeding." And I kept saying his name. I said, "Kevin, you're going to be fine. Everything will be fine. Take some deep breaths." You know, what is around you is not going to hurt you. I said this prayer to St. Michael again, and all at once, my brothers and sisters, the paranormal and Ricky who are listening to this, is that all at once I heard this guttural voice come out of heaven, and he said, "Robert, you can't help him. He's mine. You can say all the prayers to Michael that you want to, nothing. He's mine."
Mm-mm-mm.
So I said the prayer to St. Michael again. I asked the Blessed Mother, I'm Catholic, so I asked Mary to help. I asked certain saints, like St. Benedict. St. Benedict is an Italian saint, and he lived in the 6th century. He is the one who wrote the Roman rite of exorcism that they use today. After all these centuries, they still use it. In fact, I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this or not. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyhow, that's a medal of St. Benedict that I wear off. But anyhow, and how I knew, but I was sensing and feeling that he was dealing with some nasty, and not because that's the problem part. You know what I mean? If you mention his name, it's like calling him, beckoning him. So I don't want to call his name. It's bad enough that we're talking about it, But I want my brothers and sisters to know that that evil lives. It really does, And some people do have to go through the rite of exorcism. Anyhow, all at once, the evil that was inside of him, of Robert, and I'm not going to use the F word, okay? He was using all these words and such like that. He goes, "Robert, if you don't leave Captain alone, how did he know that I was in my bedroom?" I never mentioned it. And so again, I said, Saint, get behind me, stuff like that. And anyhow, so then all at once, the evil one said, "Robert, if you don't leave him alone, I will be there before you take him to death. I will." And he said, "You have no power in the name of Jesus." And then he started to laugh. It's just, the people just started to laugh and cackle and all sorts of stuff.
Hell no.
but the most definitive situation of all of this is, and I knew, and I already knew that he was possessed. He wasn't emotionally psychologically ill. Granted, he did have substance abuse. Okay, but when the evil one came through and said, he began to tell me things that only I would know. Heaven never knew that I was adopted. Heaven never knew me being gay. He told me even more specific things about me that Kevin or nobody knows. But even the evil spirit knew that. And I knew. And I knew before that, but I just wanted to make sure, you know what I mean? But anyhow, so Kevin and I talked for about 3 hours. He wanted me to come there. He lives in a very, very small town. There's no interstate to get to his town at all. It's through the country, as he says, in the west. And also, my brothers and sisters, if you get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning, please do not go by yourself. Do not go anywhere by yourself. It is.
What's up, Glenn? Glenn's in the house. Glenn Morgan.
Hi, Glenn. How are you? Anyhow, Kevin. Anyhow, so the demons just told me more things about me that Kevin would have any idea. Anyhow, so the next day, everyone in the United States, they're in the Catholic diocese here in the United States, that there is a senior priest or a Monsignor that knows about the paranormal. And if that priest or Monsignor doesn't know about the paranormal, he will refer you to a priest that does. Okay? So there's a lot more. And so I could go on for this for 2 hours just talking about Kevin's exorcism, and we will sometime, okay? The things that I've experienced with Kevin, what Kevin experienced, what the but the priest experience and such. But let me tell you, the priest that did the exorcism is the same priest, wonderful man. His name is Father Michael, and he did the exorcism on with Ghost Adventures when they went to South Bend to the demon
The
house.
Demon House. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Up in Gary.
yeah. And but anyhow, I got to know Father Michael, and they were good friends to this day. Anyhow, so there's more to this and what I experienced, like Kevin did, and all sorts of things, right? Okay, but the other exorcism is with a female, and her name is Vivian. She even lives further in southern Illinois, and her family had heard of me on a podcast, and so they called. I went down there with a friend of mine. The backstory of Vivian is that she was born into a satanic family. She was ritually raped at a very young age, sodomized, she was emotionally abused, physically abused. During this satanic ritual, she had become mentally ill. Her family, after all these years, the family got out of that cult. Okay. Vivian got out of it also, but the damage was done, already done. This poor woman, when I met Vivian, she was 35 years old. The discipline just started when she was very young as a child, and it stopped 10 years. So she's 35 when I met her, you know, so she was 25 when it stopped. So all that abuse that was going on, okay? She had become bipolar as well as, which means being manic depressive. She also, as they say, had multiple personalities, okay?
Mhm.
And so when somebody is on medication and those types of things, I don't care who does the exorcism. If somebody is on altering drugs, psychotropic drugs for their mental disorders, that an exorcism will never happen. It will never work. But what makes her story so interesting and so different is because she had 5 different personalities, okay? Only one was possessed and not the others. So I had to integrate the 4 all together and leave the other one, which was possessed, and leave that alone. I did. So that is the one that went through an exorcism.
Like
That
Sky
was
just said, she says it won't work. It suppresses the subconscious.
the medication.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very true. It's just like in the movie. It's just like the movie, the Exorcism of Emily Rose. And I don't know if you
Mhm.
ever saw that movie,
Yep.
and it's loosely based on a true story. So it's true. And so we worked with her psychiatrist and stuff like that about the medication and everything. And so when exorcism did, and she had to agree to it, just like Kevin had to agree. There's all sorts of papers that we signed and everything. But let me tell you, my brothers and sisters in the paranormal field, is that when we went down there, we taped everything. We taped everything. We were given permission by Kevin to tape, to audibly, and to visually tape everything. Our interview with him. He signed papers. We had to make sure that every base was covered to cover ourselves and to cover Kevin also. And Vivian's family, because Vivian's family had custody over her, okay? So they had to agree to it. Vivian had to agree to it. All these papers, and we can go into that later. But let me tell you that seeing the exorcism, you can watch all the exorcisms or deliverances on TV, but when you're in the same room,
A whole nother ball game.
you
Cinema
experience.
can't even get near it.
So sometimes we can talk about that. Okay, sometimes we can talk about that. And so I do many, many things within the field. I do. The psychic part of me, let's go back to that. The psychic part of me sees blocks. You know, the alphabet that's on the kids' blocks and everything, A,
Mhm.
B, whatever, right? Okay. So I'm talking to you, Ricky. And so right now, and being Italian, I use my hands. So God forbid if I ever have to have them amputated, I won't be able to talk. But any, but anyhow, so Ricky, and you're a male, so there's no lace on your block, okay? And your block is upright. So I know you're alive, okay? So if I would open the floodgates to the spirit realm, as I say, and then any person who knows you personally who has passed, it could be a family member of a family member, okay, or they could remotely know your family from a long time ago, okay. If the person is dead, then their block would be laying on its side. Again, if the block is a woman, if the alphabet block is a woman that's going to have lace. If they are alive, it would be standing up. If it's laying down, they are deceased. Okay? So I have two angels. So I have to put these pieces of the puzzle together. And Ricky, and my other brothers and sisters out there, that sometimes things are so obvious in our lives that we have a difficult time seeing them, right? Okay. So my angel, Mary Angelina, she only lived 4 hours, and that's another story. But let me tell you that if she didn't give up her life for me, I would not be talking to you today. Anyhow, so sometimes, like I said, things are so obvious that we can't see them, right? So she'll stroke my head, or she'll pat my head, or whatever, and she'll giggle in my ear. And that's an indication to me, like, Robert, are you that damn dumb? It's right in front of you, for God's sake, look at it. And then I see it. And so I do have Raphael, the archangel, and how he is so very special to me is because I'm adopted, and my birth name is Raphael. And I didn't know that till later on in life. And I never felt a connection. I still don't feel a connection to Robert. And I could have that
Hey,
same.
Mikey.
Oh, yes, Mikey's from Alton, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
I'm. How are you? Listen, Alton, Illinois is one of the most haunted damn places in the United States. Boy,
That's
that.
where my team's out of, the Riverbend Paranormal, Indiana.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay,
Well,
yeah,
Riverbend Paranormal, the branch, when I was
okay.
with Indiana. Yep.
And but anyhow, Mikey does some good work down there and everything. He's a great guy. And so being and having these experiences has changed my life. I learned a lot, you know. And like tonight, I just want people to know, if they have a story that needs to be told, that you have something laying on your heart that needs to be talked about. There are many platforms, like like the Midnight Paranormal Society, Mike and that group. Wonderful guys. Oh my God, wonderful group. Really, they have wonderful platform. It's like Ricky's platform. Okay, come here, talk about what is going on with you. Okay, no one's going to judge you. Really, they're not. And a lot of my brothers and sisters, a lot of you experience people pushing you away.
Yep.
You know, and that you sucked it deep and deep and deep and deep. Okay, but you know what? Me being gay, and I was in the closet till I was 18. There's a lot of our brothers and sisters are in the closet, in the paranormal closet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that they need to come out of that closet and into the light to be the person that God has created them to be. And it's so very important.
Yep.
Let your light shine. Let your light shine. I know a lot of our brothers and sisters are suffering from a lot of trust issues, abandonment issues, and those types of things. A lot of our brothers and sisters have these great abilities, but they're scared. And let me tell you, it's okay to be scared. Try to find a mentor that is going to help you on your journey. And again, it's your journey. And like tonight, I'm telling you of my journey. Okay. When I was younger, I did have a mentor. Now, this was in the 60s. And at that time, I could have been taken away from my parents. I could have been all sorts of things, right?
Oh,
But,
oh yeah.
you know, but my Italian Nona, grandmother, she knew a white witch, as they say. And so anyhow, so she took me there when I was very young. And when she put her hand on my head, I felt her power, on my head. And granted, I already had abilities, but I couldn't understand them. I don't know what. Well, I wasn't scared of them, but I didn't understand them. Okay.
Right.
But anyhow, so we all have a journey that we need you, that we are on. I'm here to help you. Ricky's there to help you. If we can't help you, that we'll find someone who is legitimate. Because there's a bunch of scammers out there that really piss me off.
Oh, they're out there.
Scam
100% they're out there.
scammers and leeches that prey on people who are emotionally hurting. That is so sick to me. That is so
And then they
very
charge you money, try to charge you money. Yeah.
right. You know, and so
Hmm.
I know, my brothers and sisters who are listening to this that many times I get a call and these people have been through hell. They've been to this group and that group comes and and oh well we need 100 or whatever it is and everything like that. You know, and some of these psychic mediums just really piss me off. They're
Yeah.
scams. They're fake. They
Mhm.
know when a person is emotionally needy and they work on that. So they'll say, well, I need $500. So a person is so desperate because they're so hurting so badly that they will pay $500, right? And then what happens is they'll say, well, I'll come back for a couple more times. Anything more than that, it'll be a couple extra dollars. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
you people, I know, and that's horrible. So these people are so desperate and they're hurting so badly. And it's a shame that people who call themselves psychic mediums, empaths, intuitive, sensitive, that they would even do that. For me personally, I don't charge. If someone wants to give me something, and they ask that too, Robert, how much do you charge? And I said, whatever you want to give me, but especially say a prayer for me. Say a prayer for me as I will pray for you. Okay. I'm not there to melt them at all. I'm not. Now I do house parties. People will call me and they want me to come over. They'll have a house party. And a lot of times when I get there, there's already an envelope with money in it because they have asked me before, how much do you charge for a house party? I usually only allow like 50 people there. They have to be over the age of 18 and nobody is pregnant. Those are the
Yeah.
stipulations
Yeah.
that you
Especially
know,
pregnant. That's vulnerable.
right. But anyhow, so they'll ask me, and and granted, we all have bills to pay. And it's like, well, I could charge $15. And one time I said, well, how about $15 a person? They said, oh, that's too low. And I said, listen, whatever you want to do, give us the other folks who are going to be there, and you talk amongst yourself. And when I do a house event like that, it's just not for an hour. I'm there 4 or 5 hours. I really am, you know. They bring food, they bring their liquor, whatever, and we have a good time, you know, and because people ask, and I also told my brothers and sisters who are in need, I said, listen, if you call a psychic medium or call a group, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, we need $100, click, hang up on them.
Yep.
Really, please hang up on them. I know people have to pay bills. I know that. Okay. But on the other hand, if that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth, that's bullshit. Okay. Click, hang up on them. Okay. And so, like I said, I do a lot of things within the paranormal field. I had my own private practice that started doing a criminal profiler also. So those are just some of the things that I've done in the past 50 some years of my life, you know. I love doing readings. I do when like if I do a reading over the air and it's like on a podcast like this with me, I don't get real general. I don't. There's a confidentiality, you know what I mean? And so I don't get real personal. It's usually just general. Also, I must tell everyone who's listening that everything is confidential. Like we do like I do a personal reading, um, that is confidential. It doesn't go anywhere. But I must say that I do keep a journal, and I have journals from the past 45 years of everyone that has come to me, every experience that I've had. I have in a journal. The person's first name, not last name, but I just need to do that because being in the psychology field and the social work field, that we always learn that if it's not documented, it has no time. So
Right.
documentation is very, very important. So I have all these reams of notebook paper and tablets and everything. And so anyhow, so these are some of the things that I do. And my motto is that we are spiritual beings in a physical body. And my brothers and sisters, I want all of you to begin to love yourself. Right now, the world is upside down. My God, all the negativity and all the crap that's going on, and the horrible situation, the horrible situation that is going on in Afghanistan. When today 13 of our brave soldiers were killed, along with many men and women and children, at the airport in Kabul. So let's remember them in prayer also. So it's a horrible situation over there. It really, really is. So let's remember our brave men and women in service. Because if it wasn't for them, we would not be on tonight. It is because of the freedom that we have in this country, that men and women have died for, that we can be in our prayer. So please pray for this thing. So there's a lot of folks out there that are in need of our assistance, people who have journeys to go on. And I always say that I can go, just like with the children who are going to be leaving this earthly dimension for the heavenly dimension, that I can only go part way. And when I walk with someone on their spiritual journey, not religious, because they're two different things, not religious, but spiritual journey, I give them two paths to take. And again, it is not their life, it's mine. It's their decision, not mine. Not at all. They can tell me to get away or to leave or whatever, and that's fine, and God bless them. You know what I mean? And I always give people options. You can take this path or that. But again, the decision is theirs. It's just like when I had my private practice, and when I still do some private practice outside. And I tell the clients who come to me and say, listen, I will give you some options, but again, because a lot of people will say, Robert, you tell me what I need to do. No. I will give you options, and you decide because it's your life. Also, do we have any questions at all, Ricky?
Mikey just wanted to thank you for being there for him.
Oh, and I know what he's talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. So please, everyone, please say a prayer for Mikey and his family. Please, they have gone through some horrendous things in the past 2 weeks ago. So please keep them in prayer. Please. So like I said, I do a lot of things. I do some remote viewing, and
everybody in the audience too, if you have any questions for him, me, or us, feel free.
Please. And yes, I smoke. I know I shouldn't. I know that I smoke. I can't get, at my age, folks, I can't get enough nicotine or lard. You know what I mean? The days of having a waist of like a 31 and all that, honey, that's long gone. I don't get it. I don't. I am who I am, okay? I am who I am. So I smoke, And they're
Jimmy
in Illinois.
Ricker's in the house. What's up, brother?
Who is it?
My friend Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy. Jimmy, where are you from?
Tennessee, I believe.
Oh, I see. Okay. And pray for those people, because in Middle Tennessee, they had a horrible, horrible flash flood. They received like 17 inches in just an hour. And a lot of people have been very, very hurt and some have died. So please keep our brothers and sisters in prayer as they do, And also, there's another hurricane coming. Another hurricane.
Yeah, in the Gulf, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's supposed to hit Louisiana sometime on Sunday. So please. And after living in Florida, and I've been through a couple of hurricanes that they're not fun. I've lived through Andrew and Hugo, and they're not fun at all. A lot of people they have hurricane parties, so they drink hurricane drinks. Besides, they get drunk and everything. And what happened at that we decided to stay in Miami because it wasn't even coming, because I live in South Beach, which is Miami-Dade, right? And so I lived there, and so everything was going to be cool. But all at once, the damn hurricane came. It was coming right towards Miami. It was going to be there like in 10 hours, whatever. So we decided to go inland to Homestead because they said that was going to be the safest place to go to. So we went to Homestead, but what happened was the hurricane never hit Miami. It hit the area that was part of it. But anyhow, I do a lot of things to help people, um, you know, help people on their journey. And I believe that you must understand where we have come from in our past lives to know what path to take and how to get there that will lead us to the people that we are today. I believe in past life regression. Of course I do. I truly do. I truly do. And I use that. I'm a practitioner of that in my private practice. Folks who are severely depressed, horrible anxiety, and anxiety attacks, panic attacks. Anyhow, so I have in my career, I have regressed 7 people, and it's just not one time. I slowly take them back. First, you have to build up a trust.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people will say, well, yeah, I will do that. And also then I contact their medical doctor. If they're on medication, say, this is what I want to do. And so I always talk with their medical doctor first. I never tell anyone, just get off their medicine, cold turkey.
No, yeah, I've tried that myself.
No, it doesn't work.
Nope.
It's very,
Makes
very
things worse. Yep.
Yeah, they're very dangerous. So I always talk to their medical physicians. This is what I think needs to be done. They can get another second or third or fourth opinion. But these people that I've worked with, and like I said, everything is taped. Everything is taped. All the conversation I have, it's very easy for practitioners, or it should be relatively easy, simple, to get someone in that relaxed state that before you know it, they are there. I don't take somebody back 300 years fast. I slowly regress them. That's why it takes that's why it takes me a long time. And granted, a lot of people come to me, they have insurance, and God bless that. But if they run out of insurance, I don't stop the therapy. I don't. I'll do it for free because once I get started, it is most dangerous and most inappropriate. It is most unethical and immoral to stop. So I will continue with these people on their journey. So now you know who I do and what I do. So I appreciate everyone. I really, really do. And Ricky, you're just wonderful. Really. And here, and thank you, Sky, again for introducing Ricky and I together.
Sky's the best. Shout
Yeah.
out to Sky.
Yeah. Oh, Sky's new book is out, everyone.
Yep.
Sky's new book is out. So please friend her, send her a friend request, go to her page, please. She's a wonderful author. She really, really
Elizabeth
is.
has a question for you.
Sure, Elizabeth.
What if your first past life is a really long time ago?
Oh. Excuse me, I have to smoke. Anyhow, yeah, they are a long time ago. Let me tell you, with my past life, it was during the Roman Empire. That's how long ago, centuries and centuries ago. Okay. What is good to know about past life regression, and also good to know, is why we're here. Okay.
Right.
Hi, Jay Hill. And so we have to realize that we are here to learn our lesson in life. And if we don't know what that lesson is, or if we keep repeating something over and over and over again, my God, that is our lesson. Okay.
Mikey has a question for you too.
Sure.
He says, just wondering if his 3 cousins are in heaven.
What do you think? The reason why I don't, like tonight, I've not opened, you know what I mean? Okay. It's not that I'm trying to be rude to you. If you want to friend me, I'll do a personal reading with you. Okay. And I'll give my number out. My name is on the screen. So if you want to friend me, and then we can do FaceTime and and so we'll go from there. Okay. Okay. So I didn't mean to put you off. Okay. But it's very, very important when we miss our loved one, that a lot of times and this is just my own opinion, my experience, is that we keep a lot of our loved ones earth because of our grieving, because we miss so much. And granted, I miss my mother, I miss my father, I miss, my relatives and friends, but I had to let them go. By letting them go, a lot of people think that you're forgetting them, and that's far from the truth. Okay, you must understand that and just like I'm not going to be, uh, I'm going to be cremated, but on my plaque that I want it to say, I have now began the greatest journey of my life. And I've been on a lot of journeys in this, and in this earthly dimension, but I know on the other side, it's going to be a hell of a, you know, it's
Yeah.
going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. And you're going to see people that you haven't seen for a long time, and you're going to meet new people, new experiences.
Oh, you got a question from Jay. Jay wants to know, how do you recoup after readings?
I believe thank you, Jay. I believe in for me personally, I believe in interior prayer. And for several years, I was a Benedictine monk. So I learned interior prayer. As Mother Teresa one time said to me, she goes, Robert, just shut your mouth and listen to your spirit. Put down your phone, turn off everything, and get in tuned with your spirit. Mother Teresa was very spiritual, as being very religious. She was very, very spiritual. Okay. So after I talked with someone and maybe going with someone into a home or into whatever setting, cemetery, whatever, that's what I do. I begin to just be quiet and get in tune with myself and just put the phones away. I believe in interior prayer. Some people would call it meditating, but I call it interior prayer, of where that you're going to be dialoguing with yourself, but silently, if that makes sense. Okay. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, if you guys got a question, don't be shy. Go ahead. Throw them in the
Mm-hmm.
comment section.
Mm-hmm. I know I shouldn't be smoking, but what the hell, and also that it's very important talking about interior prayer. All of us must get in touch in who we are spiritually, not not religiously, not at all, but spiritually. We have to understand who we are and why we are here. Okay. And some of our journeys are very, very bumpy. Some of them are very smooth. We think that we have reached the peak of the mountain, and then all at once we fall. And that is okay. That is okay. We just have to pick back up and get on that journey. Okay. Things in my life have, at least, have just been, and other people that I've talked to, that their bumps have just been momentarily things. It just for the moment. The moment may be a month, but it's not like for a long, long time. Okay. So we all go through the valleys and peaks, and that is normal to do it.
Jay wants to know, what does water play in your spirituality?
Well, I'm a Scorp. I'm a Scorp. Okay. My birthday is November 21st. So I'm a water sign, I do believe. I don't know much about the zodiac. I really don't get into it, except for the zodiac killer. Now, that is another story in itself. But anyhow, water is important to me. I like like to sit by a waterfall like I have here, up here in New Mexico, and it's very soothing to me. It takes me to a place of tranquility. It takes me to a place of serenity, and I just sit there and close my eyes. And I let it refresh me. I let it run over me. Not physically. Sometimes I do. But I just want that water because water is very cleansing, very, very cleansing. So it does play a part. Do I use holy water at times? Of course I do, and those kinds of things. But when I'm close to a river, to the lake, like here in New Mexico, that's just beautiful. So I sent Ricky a lot of pictures today of where I'm at and the beauty here. And there's so much beauty in this country. If we would just stop, put down the phone, and just experience the beauty. It's right in front of our eyes. It
Yep.
really is, you know.
The lovely Sky Ray has a question as well. What was the best part of experiencing being with Mother Teresa?
Oh wow. Just her, even before we all knew, and how let me go back. When I was in South Florida, I was volunteering at one of the first aid hospitals. So we're talking in the 80s, okay? Because at that time, because of the political, what was going on, Reagan was president and all that, it was called the gay plague. And a lot of evangelical Christians believed that God cursed the gay community because he wanted to rid of the deviant behavior and crap like that, right? Anyhow, the mother knew that these Americans were just being sent away to just regular hospitals, but they were like in the back wards. And I have a story that I will tell after I talk about mother. Anyhow, like I said, besides being a criminal profiler, I did volunteer a couple times a week at Mother Teresa's soup kitchen and hospice. And just to meet her before she even came into the room, you could feel her spirit. Oh my God, it was like a spirit of love and of caring. It was incredible. There are no words that I can think of that would define my experience with Mother Teresa. I could say awesome to the cows come home. I could say wow, you know what I mean? But it was just an incredible experience. Also, I met her another time. I met her. I met her another time in New York, and so we were invited. The ones who were volunteers at our hospice and such in South Florida, we were invited to hear her in New York, and so I went. And a young Rockefeller came up to her and said, "Mother, I will," and we all heard him. "Mother, I will give you my millions. I want to come to Calcutta to work with the poorest of the poor." And Mother said, "Thank you for your money, my son, but follow me." So we all, Mother, so whatever Mother does, we do. And so Mother took this young Rockefeller by the hand, took him out the door. There was about 250 of invited guests that were there. And we followed Mother. And she walked about 6, 7 blocks down. And she looked down an alley and she saw. I don't know what she was seeing. I mean, there were so many people there. We were just all crowded in, right? Anyhow, she walked down this alley, and it probably takes about 10 minutes to walk down where this person was. And here is this woman who had been beaten up. There were syringes around her. There were a lot of things around her. She was crying. Mother got down, and and she told this woman that she loved her and that she was going to help her. And when Mother said she was going to help you, she would help you. She would help you. Okay. And she turned around to this young Rockefeller and to all of us, and she said, you don't have to come to Calcutta. You don't have to go over the ocean. She goes, find your own Calcutta. Calcutta is with your own family. It is in with your own friends. It is within your own community. And she said, sometimes Calcutta is within yourself. That was very defining when she said that. And so someone called and they came and got this young woman, and Mother escorted and she was supposed to have this seminar, but she canceled it, and she went with this young woman to the hospital. And I know for a fact that she stayed with this woman for a week to make sure she was going to get.
That's awesome.
That was my experience with Mother Teresa. And then when I volunteered in the Navajo Indian Reservation, and I'm not too far from there, and that was in the Gallup area and such, and I am in Taos, New Mexico. And I volunteered with the Missionaries of Charity from January 1st until the last week in May. And it was quite an experience to be with those sisters. They're full of joy. You know, you never see what's a cell phone because they don't have any. You know, they have one telephone in their house. They don't make calls hardly. You know what I mean? You never see them on a cell phone. You never see them in front of a computer. Nothing like that at all. Nothing. And so they are full of joy. We all fall short of the glory of God every day. You know what I mean? But we all have a purpose in life. You know, I believe that we're created, and it doesn't matter who or what you believe in. You know, we're all brothers and sisters in this beautiful, wonderful universe. And it's sometimes like this very moment that the universe is really upside down. So much hate, so much frustration, so much killing, so much famine, so much dissent, mother against mother. You know what I mean? Families against families, you know, because of the political crap that's going on the, the crap that's going now on in our country right now, you know. But we always have to remember the love. We have to love ourselves so we can love someone else. I know a lot of you are listening out there that you've been hurt physically, emotionally, spiritually, and you are hurting inside. Okay? We must always remember there's a little child inside of us, and that child has been hurt terribly. We have to begin to love that child. Is it going to be easy? No. It's not going to be easy. It's not. And one of the reasons why is because you're going to have to take inventory of what has happened. And sometimes we stuff. Sometimes we begin to stuff all this stuff emotionally inside of it. And we stuff it and we stuff it and we stuff it. And it gets to the point where the body says, you know what, I've had enough. If you're not going to take care of it, I'm going to have my body, you know, your body's going to shut down.
Yeah.
The body can only take so much because we are a frail people. Okay. So please try to begin to love yourself. I know it's not easy, but I always suggest to folks that always look into the mirror and say, there's no one better than thee than me. No one is better than thee than me. Look into the mirror and say that. The positive affirmation. So please say that. It's weird at first looking into a mirror, but because we need to hear that with our ears. We need to hear that we are loved, that we are someone, that we have worth. You know what I mean? Never allow the person who has beaten you down like a dog, never allow that person to continue to have that power and control over you. Okay? Also, get these damn psychic vampires away from you. You know what I mean? Oh my
Right.
God. I mean, they're everywhere. You can be 10 miles away and all of a sudden you feel drained. A psychic vampire is coming your way. We all have friends in our lives, or we've met people that just drain us dry immediately. It's like, oh dear God, you're kidding me. That's why I don't go to Walmart. I don't go to Walmart because there's more psychic vampires there than you
Oh
can
my
take.
God. Walmart's its own entity.
Yes. But anyhow, so please, everyone love themselves. I know that it's not easy, especially you folks that have been abused. Did Jay have another question?
Yeah, he said, have you always been connected to the Native Americans?
Being Hispanic, I do have Native American, not Native American, but I have Aztec blood in me. Okay. And Native Americans and really all peoples have always been very important to me. Minorities have been very important to me because I am a minority. Being gay, that is a minority. I've been bashed, all sorts of things, okay? So I know how it feels, and it doesn't feel good. But my brothers and sisters who are listening to this, being gay doesn't define who I am, doesn't define anyone. If someone is a psychic medium, has these abilities, that doesn't define who you are. What defines who you are is your heart. That's what defines you. Okay. And always remember that. All these other things are labels. They're just labels, but our heart defines who we are. Okay. So now you folks, you know who I am and what I do. And also, while I'm here in New Mexico, my Ricky, is that I have met with different shamans and such. Very good friends. In fact, I am in a shaman's house tonight. I'm doing this, and they invited me to go horseback riding, and so we did. And I sent you pictures of the beautiful places of the Sangre de Cristo mountain range, which is the largest mountain range in the world. It was just beautiful. They were talking about skinwalkers, they were talking about Bigfoot and such like that. And then last night before, they had a big campfire, and I was invited. So there were five other shamans there. Some of them were Navajo, others were Hopi shamans, and their families were there. And so everyone was just sitting around this huge campfire, and they were telling stories of ancient times, as they say, and they were singing in their they were singing in their own language, was just beautiful. The kids were dancing, and it was just a wonderful experience for me. It really, really was. It really was. Anybody else have any questions?
Fire away.
Did Jay have another question? I thought I saw him with
No,
another
he
question.
just said thank you for answering his. I'll go back up and scroll through. Very well said. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And the Native American tradition and their society that we need to embrace, because if we would just take the time, you know, and granted, there's some parts of the United States where there's no Native Americans, and I understand that. But if you ever come to the Southwest, or if you ever go to the Northeast where the Iroquois are located, or if you go down south where the Cherokee, or go to the Southwest again where the Apache and Havasupai and Havasupai are located, engage with them, talk with them. Their stories of ancient times, as they say, is just fascinating. It is very, very fascinating. And what does Sky say? Can you read that to me?
Sky says, "Wish I had been there with you. Amazing storytelling."
Mhm. You know what? Everyone has a story to tell. And my brothers and sisters, especially the ones who are having a difficulty of not finding anyone to mentor them or to help them. Help us out there. Okay? Help us out there. You're not going crazy. Though I know there's a lot of people who are mentally ill. I understand that totally. Okay, I do. But there's a lot of our brothers and sisters that just need someone they can just vent to about, this is what's happening to me. I see shadows, I see shadow people, I see this, I hear this ticking and knocking and all sorts of things. Okay. And I understand that. So try to reach out to someone. And like I said, I'll give my telephone number at the end of this wonderful podcast. And so if anyone needs assistance, it's not that I'm an expert, because in our field there are no experts. There's, the paranormal field is not an absolute science. It's not. When I see on these ghost shows and whatever, I don't watch them anymore because they're just a pain in my ass. They really are. you know a lot of them is just, they're out just for the money part and fame. Okay. But it's just the fact that, that there are legitimate people out there that are going to help you. But again, when I see these stories and they'll say, and so underneath their name, they'll say EVP expert, my ass. You know what I mean? There's no one who's an expert. There isn't, because like I said, that the paranormal field is not an absolute science. Each of us have our own journey. Each of us have our own experience. Okay. I never claim to be an expert in the paranormal field. Not at all. Not at all. Because it's a learning experience all the time. You know, a couple days ago on Mike and a Midnight Paranormal Society, wonderful, wonderful things that I learned from them. I know on Jay Hill's podcast, I learned things. Sky Ray, excellent. She knows her stuff, folks. Please go out and get her book. Please do that. Okay. She's wonderful. She's a very loving woman. We have this, we're kind of like kindred spirits because Sky and I are both Italian, you know? So, anyhow, so please go out and get Sky's new book, please. She's wonderful. If it wasn't for Sky, that Ricky and I would not be talking. Not at all. So please, there are some wonderful people out there. Reach out, ask them for assistance. And I know for the people that I have mentioned that if they're not able to help you, they will refer you to someone that will assist, but they're not going to milk you for every dime, and especially help you emotionally, you know? So please reach out, okay? It's just like the song by Diana Ross and the Supremes, reach out and touch someone, okay? It's very, very important.
Sorry, I got stuff going on in the background. I'm going to have to wrap it up shortly.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I understand.
Yeah, I'd have to have you on here again, man. I've enjoyed this.
Well, thank you so much. Anytime. Here's my number, folks. 309-213-0325. 309-213-0325. And remember, my brothers and sisters, that we are spiritual beings in a physical body. Love, light, and peace to all of you. Ricky, thank you again. I appreciate
thank you for being on here. Yeah. Awesome stories.
Most welcome. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.